Oh, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, outsiders of all ages, it is time for another edition of The Outsiders presented by Poncho Outdoors. Unfortunately, no Jason Dick this week. He's recovering from the World Series of Poker. I know it sounds like a story, but it's actually real. Hopefully next week we get the full recap of what happened at the World Series of Poker. I'm Chad Hastings. That is the quarterback, Chance Mach. Mach 5 is here. Our surrogate quarterback in the T formation is the country gorilla, Bo Edge.
Blue 38, option to CJ Baxter. Hut.
They are ready to go. They're both rocking their poncho shirts, and we're going to get into some Longhorn conversation. There's some good and bad recruiting news we'll get into. We'll save the good for a little bit because there's a kind of interesting story brewing there. But the weird, kind of bad recruiting news for Texas, we'll start with that, and we'll see what the guys think of it. So here it is, fellas. There's a running back in Carthage named KJ Edwards. He visited A&M last week. He'd visited other big programs. Rivals, as I'm looking at it today, has him as the number 2 all-purpose back in the country. He was scheduled to come to Texas for an official visit this weekend, big, June 20th weekend that we've been telling everybody about. And all of a sudden, this week on Tuesday, and we're debuting shows, of course, on Thursdays at 10 a.m. So whenever you're watching us, thank you for watching. But this week on Tuesday, he announces that he's committing to A&M, and then it comes out later that he has canceled the official visit to Texas. So, gentlemen, I need your concern level, any worry, any panic button. Bo, let me start with you. What was your reaction when you heard about KJ Edwards?
Don't care.
Zero care.
I understand the importance of recruiting. I'm not Jason or being silly. In an NIL world, what happens in June doesn't make a mountain of nothing until late November, December, because that's when the real money starts coming into play. That's when playoff standing comes into play. Could he stay at A&M? 100%. But could he have been a 7 to 18-year-old kid that got enamored with a great weekend on campus, got, engulfed in the emotion, like, this is where I want to be? Things change. And so I'm not worried. One, I'm not worried because of the position it is, but two, I'm also not worried because there are plenty of people that flip their commitments later in the game when a bag shows up on their doorstep. So for now, I'm good.
Chance, today somebody in the chat said that a commitment is like a dinner reservation. It can always be canceled. Is that kind of the way you look at this, is let the time play out, or was there some concern for you when you saw it?
Well, I'm going to take I'm going to take a small angle on this, a slightly different angle than Bo, but along the same tracks. My concern is minimal from the standpoint of yours truly was committed to A&M at this time going into a senior season.
Okay.
We see the color shirt that I'm wearing today.
I was going to say that is not maroon. For those that have weird TVs and strange phones,
just adjust your contrast, Chad. If you change it a little to the left, it'll start to darken.
Yeah, that is not maroon.
It is not maroon. I'd have to do this so we can get the Longhorn out of it.
Right. Exactly.
So there's not a whole lot of concern there for me. Here's where I do have a little bit of an issue.
That was a cat dad look right there, wasn't it? The cat. What did the cat do?
It wasn't the cat. It was the son that decided he wanted to pour food into the tin bowl right in the middle.
Oh, okay. That sounded like a cat thing. Apologize to your son for me.
It was a son attempting to keep the cat from making noises during the show, but instead he made more noises than the cat. So thanks.
Okay. Ultimately, it's the cat. I got you.
Yeah. So I'm not concerned. I think really and truly, if you want to look at the realistic situation, and I've talked to a couple different people highly, highly, highly involved in that program, and they all told me he loved Texas. He absolutely loved Texas. He went on a visit. He was blown away. And look, when you get to College Station, they've done a great job. How many times we talk about it? Every time I've been there, I'm like, God, Monday was the 1 year since I was there for the George Strait and the Parker McCullum concert, which was awesome. They've got a lot to offer, okay? That doesn't mean – and he can cancel the visit, and that's fine. It's okay. I don't care about that right now. Where I have an issue is that Tashard Choice was a really, really good at getting kids to believe in what he was doing. He made the move that was going to happen. We knew it was going to happen. And in his first big target, if you will, it was a little bit of a whiff. It wasn't a whiff because you didn't actually get a pitch because he canceled his visit. I think if there was to be something that I would say, hey, probably, maybe could have been a little different, was get him in here with all the other guys with the Lambos on the field and have him in here during that week. Didn't work out. It's not over. It's fine.
It's definitely not over. But Bo, that would be my concern. If I'm a Texas fan, it's not the commitment part, because like we've always talked about, the commitment can happen in June and it can change and there's flips. It's the not coming on the official visit part that would concern me a little bit if I was a Texas fan. So I know there can be one of those during the season and all that, but these 3 weekends have been set up for a reason. And this one is huge, and John Turntine's part of it. And we're going to talk about this linebacker that's part. There's this huge group coming in. If I'm a Texas fan, I just wanted KJ to be part of that.
Obviously, but there are so many more inner workings now. Who knows? In an NIL world, and I'm not using this statement to disparage A&M. I know I do that on a regular basis, but I'm saying whether this was A&M, Texas Tech, Ohio State, or whoever, A&M needed momentum in the recruiting world. Like, you look on Twitter, Billy Lucci's just firing every day. We're number 3. They are trying to overcome the missteps of last year where honestly, it was a failure from what they wanted, especially when their rival made it to the SEC title game, made it to the Final Four, has all the momentum, has every story on the internet being about Arch Manning. Even the Ryan Wingo stuff, like everything is Arch Manning all the time. What if they just said, hey, here's $100K. Here's an NIL payment in advance. We want you to come here. Here's some money. We need this to build up so this team can build up. Now, he could still intend on going there, but maybe they were trying to change the narrative and change the story and hype it up, and he bought into that. Well, guess what game I guarantee you he's going to show up when he gets to go to travel? It's going to be right here at DKR Thanksgiving weekend when he comes to watch Texas versus Texas A&M. And if Texas handles their business and wins that game by 14 points and the crowd's going nuts and the drone show's going and A&M ends up 7-5 and in the Poulan Weed Eater Bowl and Texas is going to the SEC title game again, that's all the recruiting visit he needs. I guarantee you he'll find time for a recruiting visit to be on a winner if Texas hasn't found someone else nationally that they want to be that back.
Yeah, that's definitely a game that the Aggies would not want him attending in a weird way, but you don't want him attending the game in Austin because it would have to be as a Texas recruit
at night.
That night
with by the by, because it's on a Friday.
You don't want him there as your commit. You do not want him in Austin that night.
And let's just say things haven't gone the Aggies' way season-wise, and Texas is doing everything we think. He comes as a Texas recruit, and I'm already here. I might as well stay Saturday and Sunday for my official right before signing day, and all of a sudden everything sways him around. And there's also some ambiguity in the Texas running back room. There's a lot of youthful guys in there that are showing off, and including a guy like CJ Baxter that you don't know if he's not going to be there years and years from now. The A&M has a great running back room. I'm not taking away from it. But they have one bell cow that everybody knows in Moss. If Moss has a good year, he's gone. There is an open seat at that table. Baxter isn't even sure to be playing this year.
Moss is a freaking stud, bro.
Yes, he is.
He's first-round pick
this year. So
right. A&M's got more guys that are probably headed out this year. They've got more of the older guys in that room too, and maybe that's something that KJ Edwards is looking at.
Let's be real. If they look at these, and recruits don't just look at star rankings, but CJ Baxter isn't the only one that was top 5 running back in the country that's in that Texas running back room. Tashard Choice stocked that thing. Say what you want about Jarrett Gibson, top 5 running back. Christian Clark, highly rated running back. The room has guys in it that he may see an easy path to being a star at A&M when that room leaves. He may reevaluate. If not, good luck, young man. I have no doubt Texas can go find a very high caliber running back later in the season. I don't doubt that at all.
All right, so we'll see as the weekend gets here. You never know because sometimes these stories do change. Maybe KJ Edwards ends up in Austin, but at this point, it doesn't look like that's going to happen. So we'll keep our eyes open for that story. It is The Outsiders presented by Poncho Outdoors. Let's throw up some quick Poncho, one of my favorite Poncho shirt graphics. There it is. Got some kids shirts if you need them. PonchoOutdoors.com. Be sure to mention Orange Bloods Live. Get shirts for yourself. Get shirts for the kids. Father's Day is, well, just passed, over, right? If you missed Father's Day, if you screwed it up, this is a great way to fix it. Maybe you got birthdays coming up for the kids. You want to match them up. You do it that way. They are not selling that dog. The dog is staying at his or her home, even though it's an incredible dog. So check out PonchoOutdoors.com for all the good stuff. All right. So, Chance, you have something you wanted to add for Edwards before we move on?
I did. I had a really good point, but, I have CTE, so when Bo talks for 5 minutes, I'm trying to follow all the 37 points that he's making. It's hard for me to go. I can't remember where I was going.
Hey, at least they're good points.
As someone who does a show every day with Jeff Ketchum, I have no clue what you're talking about right now, Chance.
Yeah, like you get a really good point that you want to throw in there and have a discussion about, but then by the time we get to it, I'm like, I forgot what I was going to say.
You need to work out a system with Chad where you text him privately. He just shuts my camera off and lets you go.
No, I mean, like I just look at it and I go, okay, so this is, it's not the thought that I had, but it was one of the thoughts during the 37 points is,
you get your own segment. Quit coming at me with my points when you have the Mach 5 top 5. There ain't no Bo Edge top 5.
Yeah, because you would throw stuff in there like that. So here's the question, though. So, Bo, you made one statement, and I don't know the rules of this because I don't know that there are rules to this. But it's interesting because I could see teams saying, hey, I'll give you – because I know this for a fact. I know that Texas Tech, when I was being recruited, they called my dad, who was an All-American there, NFL. He was the strength conditioning coach when I was born there. So then we had a lot of connections to Red Raider land out there. And they said, would you just take a visit? Just please, can you just get a chance to take a visit? My dad said, why would I do that? And they said, because it would just help us to be able to tell recruits he's coming in. Going to your point, Bo, of, maybe they said, here's $100,000. Don't go to Texas this weekend. It's up front. And there's no recourse for that, right? Like they have no recourse to get that back. And my dad's response, it wasn't even mine. My dad's response was, why would he want to come to Tech and help recruit for y'all when he's going to be playing against y'all for the next 4 years? Like, what is the point of that? So my point is this. There is so much money flying around, and there's so many things, but I don't – whereas most of the time, Bo, you do make some really good points. That's one that I would say if there's even a thought in his mind about, leaving the door open for Texas, he's not taking money to hurt Texas. I think more than anything, and there's a lot of talk out there that the recruiting trip wasn't just how great A&M was. It was a lot of negative Texas stuff is what it was. And I think there's a lot of that, Bo, you mentioned it, about the running back room. There was a lot of that in there. You're not going to see the field. You're going to be able to play here earlier. You're going to, there was a lot of that conversation in there. It was more of a negative recruiting, not more of. Oh, I remember my point. Yes. God, I love when my 3 brain cells start firing. All right. So
we'll talk about Rogue Shop later. They'll make 4 fire.
Yeah, we got that. That's coming up.
Now I forgot again. All right, go to Rogue Shop.
Oh, my God. You really forgot it?
Mm-hmm.
You forgot during the celebration of remembering?
I did.
How old are we, Chance?
CTE is a hell of a jug, Chad.
What is happening? Damn it. All right, let's hear from Covert Ford, and maybe it'll come back to Chance. Kimberly, can you bring it out of him, please?
Hi, I'm Kimberly Covert, and since 1909, the Covert family has been committed to Austin's community. For 116 years, we've grown with Texas, driving progress, building trust, and serving the Austin community. Whether it's the all-new 2025 F-150 or the versatile 2025 Ford Maverick, we're here to help you find the perfect fit, just like we've done for generations. At Covert Ford, it's more than cars. It's about family, service, and a legacy of trust. Visit covertforward.com and become part of our story.
Yes, indeed. All right. It is the Outsiders. Did you remember?
I put it in the chat so that I would not forget.
Always write it down, Chance. It's a good
Yes,
idea.
I know. Okay. We lost Bo. He did. Damn it. Turn us. We're just going to have a conversation, Chad, you and me.
Okay. All right.
I literally left the room so you wouldn't get forgetful again. I figured without me on the screen, you'd find your.
All right.
No,
Without him on the screen, can you remember what you were going to say?
So here's my thing, and Bo brought this up, and I think this is a very valid point. And this is where I would play it a little differently. Where A&M is trying to build and bolster, and hey, we've got the number 3 class, and Billy, in some ratings, we're the number 2 class now. Well, just as A&M, and this is not a shot, Chad. It's just this is how I would play this. Mm-hmm. If I'm Billy Lucci, I'm playing it calm. I'm playing it confident. But all this boasting, because the problem is y'all had supposedly the greatest recruiting class in the history of ever put together, and we saw what happened there. Mm-hmm. You had the number 1 preseason baseball team, and we saw what happened there. You had the number 1 ranked softball team, and we saw what happened there. Like, we had this basketball team that we thought was going to do good, and they exit in a round of 32. Like, there's been a lot of letdown. If I'm Aggies, I'm saying, all right, yeah, you're right. We've let our fans down, and it's been a thing, and I get it. And we got some really good things going right now. But let's just play it close to our vest. Let everybody talk trash. Let everybody go show it on the field. Like, to me, that's the issue. Like, you haven't proven anything yet. And I understand that Billy's selling subscriptions, but at the same time, and I love Billy. You know I love Billy. I think he's hysterical, and I know that half the stuff he throws out there is literally just for clicks. But, like, I feel like you're setting yourself up for failure. Like, okay, we had the number 1 greatest class ever, and it shit the bed on us. This one's a good class. Let's hold it. Everybody knows what it is. We're just going to be quiet. We're going to do our talking in the fall. That's the way I would approach it.
Yeah. Well, the thing is, as I've told you for years, Chance, Aggies are not pre-programmed for realism. That is not how it works. Billy knows who he's talking to. He knows he's not talking to a bunch of Aggies that think like I do, because there aren't many of them. He knows who he knows it. Deep in his soul. He knows what he wants.
There is one in the world. It's you.
Yeah, and it's me, and the only one weirder is my dad. And they want that. They're hardwired for that thing. And they want to be the little brother who's always screaming and it's notice me. They always want the attention. And Chance, I end up saying a version of that every year of like, can't you just take a breath? Did you have to say it like that? Why'd you have to be that emphatic? They don't care. It's just,
it's kind of like, to me, like I go back to Chad.
I can buy my computer as a reminder of the man I want to be, Doc Hastings.
That's it. Doc Hastings, not the Aggie Billy Lucci's talking to. Definitely.
He's an independent thinker, Chad. It says so right on his card. That's why he doesn't fall into the cult. Yeah, he's an independent thinker.
He is that. Definitely is that.
It's just, I think A&M's doing some really good things. And I've said that, and I don't shy away from that. I think what they've done with that stadium is nothing short of incredible, because they took basically a glorified high school stadium with a hell of a lot of tradition and a hell of a lot of spirit that was, instead of a 1-deck high school stadium, it became a 3. They added the zone, which was nice. But now it's a great facility. I mean, it's incredible. It really is. And their facilities are great. And they've done a great job. And I get it. But just build what you're doing. Let your helmets do the talking, and it's going to work out if you're good. But if you're not.
So
yeah, right. No. Good point.
Right. And this A&M has been in this train before. They did it with Sumlin in the helicopter, or the swag copter, the Manziel era. A&M, until they actually do it on the field, has to win with hype. Texas is at a point right now where the hype is already there. They have Arch Manning. They could just put that on a billboard and show it on YouTube every day, and it would get more clicks than everything Billy Lucci's doing. They have Steve Sarkisian, who is one of the it coaches out there, good-looking guy, out there on all the shows talking. No offense to Mike Elko, because me and him share a similar build, and, I can rock a moo-moo like nobody's business. But you don't see Elko on all the national shows all the time because he's not good for TV. He's a defensive-minded coach with his OC being a guy that's known for being a bam-bam, run over everybody quarterback. Texas has the flash. They don't have to talk. There have been times where Texas needed to talk, like during the Tom Herman era. Texas doesn't need it right now. That's why Texas will let it go and see what happens in the season. And that's a very pragmatic approach.
Well, now
Texas isn't always known for.
Real quick, Chance, back to Edwards. If you're right, if what you're hearing is right, I would be interested to know, what is that talk? Because the talk is one thing to get him to commit. But if talk got him to commit and cancel the OV to Texas, what was the talk? What was the talk that would get a Carthage running back that was trying to figure out which one he wanted to go to and scheduled both visits to just get rid of that second visit? Like, what kind of talk are we discussing here?
I'll tell you, because it's the same thing, and I can't remember who the caller was. Bo, you might be able to remember. It might have been Chad, Aggie Chad, not you, Chad, but I can't remember his name. He used to tweet in or text the show line all the time when we were at a station there in Austin all together, and he used to say, "We would have built a statue for you in College Station. You sat behind Chris, and you sat behind Major. You would have been Johnny Manziel before there was a Johnny Manziel. You'd have had a statue." And that's what he used to say. And I guarantee you that was the same thing they're saying. You go to Texas, you're going to get lost. You come here, you're going to get featured. Number one, we can pay you. A&M's got plenty of money. I don't care how much they got to pay people for, like Jimbo and everything else. They've got plenty of money. So they can make the payment, and they can sell him on the fact you're not going to touch the field for the next 3 years, but you come here. We got all these seniors leaving next year. You're going to come in. You're going to have playing time as a freshman, and you're going to be featured as a sophomore. That's an easy sell.
Well, and here's the secondary part of the pitch you're talking about. You go to A&M and you're a running back that succeeds in a run-heavy offense with a quarterback that, if he is as viable as Elko thinks he is, Marcel Reed is has 3 more years at Texas A&M. He's not going to the NFL. The NFL isn't looking for guys that throw like Marcel Reed. No offense. He's athletic as hell. He can be a great college quarterback, but right now he has not proven to be the arm talent that the NFL is looking for. Arch Manning, they could pitch him on, you're going there and Arch is going to be gone in a year and you don't know who your quarterback's going to be, but whoever the quarterback is at Texas is going to be the star. It ain't going to be the running back. You can come here and be the man and build a legacy here. Oh, and by the way, there's $1 million in that bag over there, so it'll pay you to do it. Like, there are a lot of reasons why a running back would want to go to A&M in that offense versus coming to Texas and this offense right now, because Sark has proven, and this is probably part of the negative recruiting that you're talking about, Chance, they'll show him 15 years of Sark where there was never a true feature back. There were guys that were getting 1,000, 1,200 yards, but nobody was making 2,000 yards and being in the Heisman conversation.
You know what else is going to show
with his backs? Huh?
Oh, you're hitting the nail on the head, but you know what else video they're going to show? They're going to show Arch Manning sitting on the sideline and Quinn playing and say, see, Sark is loyal to his guys. CJ Baxter, he's got 2, maybe 3 more years ahead of him. You don't know. And Sark's going to be loyal to his guys. I'm telling you, that's what's happening.
All right, so the KJ Edwards story's out there. We'll get you a big hunk of good news if you're a Longhorn fan you talk about a big get that could be coming in with an official visit this weekend. We'll get that name out there. Another name that's already been mentioned in this show is Rogue Shop. But we need to tell them about the good folks at Rogue Shop because, well, they do great work. They do great work wherever people are. They do some great work, and we're hoping they get to keep doing the great work for a while.
Anxiety, sleep issues, just partying with your buddies, whatever it is you're looking for, Rogue Shop can provide it. It's 100% legal. They ship it to your door. Don't worry about all the stuff you hear in the news. It's the stores here in Texas that aren't going to be able to sell it. They aren't in Texas. I can assure you, you can order from Rogue Shop, and a little UPS box will show up on your doorstep about a week later, and happiness can ensue. You'll sleep better if that's what you're looking for. You go on their website. They have a great chat system. As soon as you log in and prove you're over 21 years of age, they'll talk to you. You tell them what you're looking for, and they will help you find the product in their arsenal that will make your life better. There's just no other way to put it. Rogue Shop makes your life better. That's it. 10% off, code Outsiders. That's code Outsiders, 10% off at the Rogue Shop.
There you go. Shout out to Rogue Shop and all the great partners at Orange Bloods Live. We got a Mach 5, top 5 coming up in honor of Jason Dick. trying to take down Vegas in the World Series of Poker. We're going to have Chance's top 5 table games. Could be poker. It could also be Monopoly. Anything you can play at a table. That's what Chance is going to lay out for you here in just a couple minutes. But
hold on, I want to propose a question to you guys, just so he can watch this later and play it back.
Yes.
Do you think if Jason Dick had succeeded after his 3 weeks in Vegas at the World Series of Poker, he would be here, like Johnny Manziel talking on the cash phone or with his cash shooter, all kinds of, lovely ladies around him? I have a feeling that if Jason had a good trip to the World Series, and he hasn't said either way how he performed, I have a feeling if it was a good trip, his fat butt would be sitting right there in quad 4 talking about it. So the fact that he's sick it's sick financially, and he's got to go back to the drawing board.
Chance, I'm going to argue either way. There's no way he was going to be on this show. Either he got himself sick in Vegas and it didn't go so well, or I think if he'd won, he'll forget our names forever.
Pretty.
And there's no way he's never on the show again.
Yeah, it could be either way. I will tell y'all though. Did we talk about last week that I won a Bronco? Did I tell you that?
It was mentioned. It was mentioned on the show. Yes.
Yeah. So I won a Bronco, a $55,000 Bronco. I bought a $100 raffle ticket, and I won a $55,000 Bronco last week.
The car, not the animal.
Yeah, I got an Outer Banks edition. It's a convertible, it's a hard top you can take off. It's freaking sweet. But anyway, I won that. So this weekend, I'm headed to Lake Charles for my son's base. He's playing at McNeese this weekend, and so your boy he's gonna take the luck show on the road.
Nice.
Okay? So I will be showing my luck with some of the table games, which we'll talk about here in a little bit.
Oh, I got you. Okay, fair enough.
I won't forget your names though. After I hit because here's what's going to happen this weekend. I'm going to go ahead and tell y'all. I'm calling my shot. I'm Babe Ruth. I'm pointing. I'm not only going to hit multiple blackjacks on the blackjack table, but I'm going to play with the prop bet of the progressive jackpot wheel, and I'm going to hit the progressive. Last time I was there is at 135,000. I don't know what it's at right now, but next week, by the time we get back, I'm hitting it. I'm just telling you, I'm hitting it.
All right. Mach 5 Top 5 is coming up here in just a minute. We'll get to some cool table games. But first, guys, some possible – it's good news anyway. Could be great news if you're a Texas fan. A guy named Tyler Atkinson is coming in for an official visit this weekend. This is the number 1 linebacker in the country according to Rivals. He went to Oregon on the 6th. He went to Georgia on the 13th. Now, the problem if you're a Texas fan is he's from Georgia. So you're having to pull a Georgia guy that Georgia's really interested in away from him. That might be tough. But number 1 linebacker
says hello.
Number 1 linebacker coming in, right? And Bo, you just said it. You took the words out of my mouth. Something happened last year Texas ain't scared of that idea. So pretty exciting stuff, Bo. Number 1 linebacker in the last couple weeks has canceled another visit, and he put Texas on his list.
Yeah, and that's my host right there. Justice Terry. That's who's hosting him when he comes in town. And he's going to say, this is what we're doing here, kid. And I love it. I love it because Texas is broadening. And I loved Mac's approach, which was we're going to win with Texas kids. And I think Texas is still doing that because you got to have the relationship with Texas high school football coaches. You got to have a relationship with the kids that play football in the state of Texas. But every once in a while, you go find good kids, go get them. Go get those kids from out of state because you know what? Everybody else is, and for a long time, and you know how much I love Mac Brown, but in his later years, they didn't have the out-of-state kids, so it's tough. As good as Texas is, when you're recruiting one state and everybody else is recruiting 49, well, it's tough. It's not tough to beat a team, that's not very good. It's really tough to beat a Georgia that's going to go recruit Pennsylvania and Ohio and Florida and Louisiana and Mississippi and Tennessee and everywhere else, right? I mean,
and
it's a numbers game.
And we haven't gotten there yet. And yes, it is Arch Manning's team at this point. Texas's defense was what was driving the bus last year most of the time. And this year, Texas's defense has the potential to be a top 10 in the country defense again. But yes, they could be number 1. I don't think they will because the schedule.
Because of the schedule.
Everybody says it's it's a very weak home schedule, but the road schedule is as tough as anybody in the country. Ohio State, Georgia, and Florida on the road. Like, nobody's got a schedule like that with road games on their docket. You go win in those environments with that defense, and the Texas defense could become the hype machine, especially when you look at all the defensive guys Texas is putting in the NFL. If some of those guys hit, no, they're not to the Georgia level yet, with the Philadelphia Eagles basically being Georgia North.
And winning Super Bowls.
Yeah, but Texas is starting to plant guys that are doing very, very well. And mark my words, the one that's going to do the most is going to be in Cincinnati. Just watch. Joseph Osai is going to be a wrecking machine this year now that he's healthy.
He's going to do great. But how about what is Shamir doing, by the way?
Shamir?
However you say his name, I don't know.
Dumbass is what you should call him.
Are you talking about Shamar? Are you talking about A&M? Shamar Stewart?
Yeah. Yes.
Shamar, not Shamir. Shamar.
The one holding out for the Bengals so he can and complaining about their organization before he even has a contract.
He doesn't have a contract and he's already ripping the organization. I'm like, what are we doing?
Now, that being said, the Bengals are routinely voted the worst organization to work for in those players' polls. Maybe he's just finally announcing what everybody else knows. This is a crap hole.
Yeah, I was going to say, remember years ago when we found out through like an anonymous player poll that they had old towels? Like, there's a lot of stuff that the Bengals have been known for over the years.
Can I say, though,
I would not advise that.
That's one of the best things the NFL has. And if anybody out there watching this has not gone and read, like, because every year they poll all the players,
right,
and they lay out everything about the organization, and you can find out like who does what ways. And it's funny because there are some NFL organizations that are run like a high school team. It's absolutely incredible.
Yeah, it is.
And you know what the key identifier is for all of them? That's their owner's source of income.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it's not his fun project. It's his source of income. Like the Brown family and the Bengals, they run it like a business. They run it militaristically on the financials, whereas guys that have made money in other endeavors or have things going, it's a hobby. It's now at this point in his life, Jerry Jones, that is his only thing. But for Jerry Jones, it's about ego and hobby. He's going to spend every dollar he has to spend to win more. For the Brown family, that's their source of income. So they're going to nickel and dime every single thing. The Spanos family used to do that with the Chargers. That was they made their money off what it made.
Look at what the Hunts have done, right? The Hunts they've been incredible the way they've structured all of their contracts. The Eagles, I feel like the Eagles are 5 years ahead of everybody. I mean, I really do. Like, it takes a lot of upfront money from the ownership group, but the ownership group is okay spending that money.
Look at the team that I root for.
It's time for a shot. We got to talk about the Bills.
No.
The Bills with Terry Pagula, and that group, that's not his income. He does it because he has a passion for the team and he's willing to put the money in and do it. That's where you find these teams that are not, they're not willing to spend the money, because in the NFL, if you want to beat the salary cap, the owner has to be willing to part with that money. There's ways to do it, but the owner has to be willing to. Well, the Bengals aren't.
Look at my Titans ran by the Adams family, the bastards that took it from Houston to Tennessee for cash. Now it's ran by the daughter. They're the ones that let Mike Vrabel walk because of stupid stuff, because of petty. That's what happens when it's your business. You get petty and you get bad things happen. The ones that run it like it's fun are the organizations that succeed, and they let their players have fun. Like, sorry, but that's the reality. The Eagles are having fun. The Chiefs are having fun, not just because they're winning, but because the organization is fun.
Well, I mean, even like, look, I think Cal McNair is about as goofy of an owner as they come. I mean, Cal McNair is squirrely, boy, but he did a good job. He brought D'Amico in, and he's allowed them to create an atmosphere in there. I think it's a fun place to play. I mean, the city of Houston, I think, is really behind them. And if you look at them right now, they're the fifth favorite team in the AFC. Now they're significantly behind. There's three there's the three dogs, right? Kansas City, Baltimore, Buffalo. And freaking Baltimore getting Jair today? Seriously? Like, that defense needs any more help, and that's who we get to open with? Oh, thanks. But outside of that, you got the Chargers, but the Texans have done something really impressive. So I think it'll be good to watch.
Chance mocks Buffalo Bills feelings, as always, brought to you by the Bills Mafia.
I gave the Texans love.
NFL season coming very soon. You're right, Chance. You mentioned the Texans a ton.
I didn't mention the Cowboys at all.
No, nor should you. All right, speaking of fun,
shows that can do that.
Bo said fun a lot. Let's have some fun with a Mach 5 Top 5. It's brought to you by Integro Construction Services. Chance is going to give us his top 5 table games after Bo tells you about Integro Construction Services. Bo, what do we got?
If you were in Central Texas last week, the wind was blowing. There was hail, rain. Your roof doesn't want all that. And you don't want to have to get a new roof. I just had a friend bitching to me because he's getting a new roof from hail damage. The deductible was so high. He's stroking a 5-figure check for a roof. For a fraction of that, you can add 10 to 15 years of life to your roof with Go Nano technology. Integro is the only authorized dealer of the Go Nano technology here in Central Texas. 987-1273. It's real simple. Your roof gets old. You can revitalize it. It's like a shot of adrenaline to your roof when they come on and spray this stuff on your roof. It makes the asphalt and the roofing components work better. It makes your roof work better. And the added bonus is it's wind resistant up to 150 miles an hour. It adds that sun protection. It helps with the rain. Your house is your biggest investment. Your roof is the most important part of that investment. Other than maybe the foundation, you want your roof to be there for you and your family. Get Go Nano on it. Add life to your roof. Save money. Just give them a shout. 987-1273. Integro, the only licensed dealer of Go Nano technology here in Central Texas.
All righty, Mr. Chance Mock. It is time. Mach 5 Top 5 in honor of Jason Dick trying to take Vegas down. Your top 5 table games. It's a broad world here, Chance. What are you going to do?
It is. Well, first of all, I want to tell you the suggestion that I got from my brother, Trevor, who Bo affectionately calls Snake.
Yep.
And I can I real quick get a ruling? Because I think this is the stupidest thing I've ever heard.
All right.
Have y'all ever heard of something called the Settlers of Catan?
Oh, Catan's badass. I wouldn't put it in the top 5, but it's fun.
The Sellers of Catan, is this like one of those fantasy board game things?
Yes.
Okay.
No.
Is it like Magic?
Nerd alert! Nerd alert!
Is it like Magic with the cards or whatever?
No. It's like grown-up Risk, but instead of countries like Itarusk and Yatuska and all those things, you're building settlements to take over your little area.
All right, I got you. Okay. I mean, I would allow it if you want to put it in.
Don't you ever knock Risk. Do you understand me?
It's on my top 5 list, butthole. I'm just saying Catan is the millennial version of Risk.
All right, fair enough.
All right, here we go.
Would be on Bosley. What do you got, Chance?
So number 5, just because I know it would be added if I didn't add it, so I'm going to put it in there. Texas Hold'em.
Yeah, okay.
Got to have it on there.
It's a hell of a game. Yeah.
Now, game number 4, that's where it starts getting interesting because if you ever want to have a family fight in physical person, play the game of Uno. Because not only is it fun, but it will piss off everybody that you're playing with, and somehow you will end up in a fight every time you play it, and that alone makes it worth doing.
Uno and a family fight. I love it.
Like, I've never played a game of Uno that hasn't ended with somebody pissed off because you gave them the reverse card or the, draw 10s or whatever.
Oh, dude, the reverse draw 4 combo that can get you at the wrong time. Those are awful.
Yeah, you go from having 1 card to holding 13.
Yep.
By the way,
3.
Okay. Wait, can I ask a question? If you're an Uno connoisseur, why the hell do they have to have 74 versions of Uno at the store now? Why can't you have 1 box of Uno cards? Now they're all different colors with different crap in there. There's one Uno. The rest of it sucks.
Yeah, absolutely.
I mean, by definition, it's called Uno. There should only be one.
All right, number 3. Bo, you mentioned it. It's one of my favorites. I'll never forget my 12th birthday. I took 3 of my best friends, Mr. Sinisi was one of them, and we went up to the lake house at Lake Livingston, and we played the game of Risk from about 7 o'clock at night till 3 in the morning, because that's how long it takes. But it is the game of world domination, and there's nothing I enjoy more than world domination. So number 3 is the game of Risk.
Risk. Okay, fair enough.
Now, taking away world domination and going to the game of chance, which I always love, the game of roulette. If you haven't sat around a roulette table and watched that little ball bounce around and had that screaming and yelling and the fight to put your chips on the right one that you want, it's a blast.
I think my favorite thing about roulette chance is you can walk up to any stranger in Las Vegas or Atlantic City, wherever you are. You can convince any stranger to put their money on any number with the dumbest argument ever. Dumbest. You don't even have to make an argument. I once walked up to a roulette table. I put money on a number, never explained why. And the dude looks at me and goes, I like it. I like it. And then just puts money right next to it.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Hey, we're going to ride it. They play on feeling. They play on emotion. It happens a lot at the craps table, too. The problem with craps is I enjoy shooting dice with my friends, like sitting in a circle and, just shooting street dice. Right?
Yeah.
Roulette would be a lot of fun. It's too damn much for me to keep up with. Like, I'm drinking and having fun and trying to bet, and I don't care about the pass line. Like, I'm like, did he hit his number or not?
Yeah. That confuses me too, but it is fun to watch. It's fun to hang out with. Yeah.
Yeah. So let me tell you a little story about roulette. The first time I ever went to Vegas, my mom would be when she watches this tomorrow, I don't know what time, she's really pissed at us. She's protesting our show, but she's not happy.
Right. Chance's mom was one of our big live viewers.
It's what she does on Wednesday nights. So anyway, so we get to Vegas, and this is the game that I was about to play, the Las Vegas All-American game. First time I've ever been to Vegas. My mom's there with my girlfriend at the time, and we go down to the floor the first night, and she's like, so my number was 5, and my jersey was red. She's like, go put 100 on red 5, 100 on red 5, 100 on red 5. And me, I was like not trying to crawl over all the people, so I'm like, hello? Well, they closed it, and they started it. Son of a bitch, that $100 would have paid $3,500 because it hit red 5. And she looked at me and she goes, and she was so mad at me. She didn't talk to me the rest of the night.
Wow. Damn. That's crazy.
I don't want to make this too long, but can I tell a nice little roulette story that ties in with the College World Series from my youth?
Wow. Everybody's got a roulette story. Sure.
Yes. Back when Texas was in the 2000 College World Series, when they were the upset special and they went there and got 2 and Q'd. Well, we're at the roulette wheel at the Indian Casino in Iowa, right there in Council Bluffs. It's about 3 in the morning. Me, my buddy Josh, everybody knows old Josh Hobby. There's a former UT baseball player. UT had already gotten 2 and Q'd. So the seniors and guys that weren't coming back to the team were heavily involved in the casino for the 3 days before they went home. This is back when the NCAA allowed the teams to have the buffet as their meal. Like you would see every team that was at the College World Series would be at the casino at the buffet getting their lunch at the buffet because it was cheaper. So Chris Hauser gets kicked out for not the first time, not the second time, but the third time for throwing a dip and spitting it on their floor because they were like, there are people lighting lung darts all over the place. And they're like, you just have to spit in a cup. You can't do it on the floor. And he's like, I don't give a fuck. And so they kick him out. And we're about to leave. We're like, oh, this isn't going to go well. The other guys are with, this is going to get bad. This drunk dude, like sig hanging, like can't even speak, puts money on the table. And it's just making a shorter story than this. The dealer screwed up and called it and didn't pay it outright. Like she dropped the ball when the glass wasn't out there. They did a dealer switch and the new dealer just came in and threw the ball. Well, we were all waiting for the Hauser to get thrown out and get our new beers. And the new one comes in and just takes all the money. Well, then we had floor. They go back and watch the tape and everybody gets their money back. Homeboy had already lost, but they didn't realize that his little bet he had $100 on the first 12. They missed it. They gave him back his $100. So he just slides it back out there. He is so drunk. He doesn't know what's going on. The ash is longer than the damn cigarette. Well, first 12 hits, 3-1. It's $300. Stacks it. Happens again. Then he moves it. He's just like, just moving it all over the board. He hits, doubling it up, 11 bets in a row.
Wow.
He was over $20,000, didn't even know his name, just ash hanging. And he was, whoever his friend was, just literally shoved him aside, took his chips, and they were gone. He went from shipping out, cashed out, no money whatsoever, to over 20 grand, just sitting there. It was the craziest damn thing I'd ever seen in a casino until later in my life when I saw much more.
Damn. All right, Chance, what's the number one table game?
Number one, it's easy. It's the one that I'll be sitting at all weekend. It's me doing my math work because, as y'all know, CTE is a bad thing. So I'm going to see how many ways I can count to the number 21. There's actually 128 different ways that you can get a combination to 21, and I'm going to try to hit all of them this weekend. So blackjack is the number one table game of which I play.
Blackjack ends up at number one. All right, we're going to mill this.
I have my record is 18 hours at one table.
Damn, now that's a lot. All right, we're gonna mold it. We're gonna mull this over. Bo's gonna think about anything that he may want to add. While we're doing that, I'm gonna show you guys some last stand hats. That's right, last stand hats. Let's take a look at these Occupy Left Field. We've showed you a little bit of that, and some other hats here. Let me show you a hat that I cannot purchase, but maybe some of you can. See that hat right here? I can't do this one. The Not an Aggie, couldn't do it. Be disingenuous since I'm an Aggie. So if you guys want the Not an Aggie hat or the best hat or just Texas baseball or one of these cool left field hats, they have all kinds of great stuff at Last Stand Hats. And you know I'm going to check for me and Chance and everybody that loves
you.
No, it didn't happen. It's kind of like the roulette wheel. And it's kind of like craps. We've crapped out a lot on that one. But Last Stand has got all kinds.
Let me tell you something
for you.
If Mike can't figure it out by December the 23rd, Last Stand Hats not having UTEP is going on.
It'll go on the Festivus poll?
It's going on the Festivus poll.
If you need an outsider's hat.
He was designing this bad boy that I just picked up at the UT baseball game. That's a beautiful looking hat. I'll take that over some, UTEP stuff.
It's a beautiful hat. I'll take an outsider's hat. We got 12 different versions of that too if you want to check it out. Outsiders 10 is your code when you go to Last Stand Hats. All right, Bo, you've heard Chance's list. Blackjack on top, roulette, risk, Uno, and Texas Hold'em. Do you have a change to make?
I do.
The game.
Now, it would have been a game if they'd have spelled it correctly. Then they would have gone on my list. And that's Skip Bo. But they haven't spelled B-O, so Skip Bo's out because they don't know how to spell the name properly.
That's my mom's name.
I love me some Skip Bo. Skip Bo's
I know, but that's a nickname. My real name is Bo, and they need to spell it B-E-A-U. They could even make it Cajun in honor of the LSU team and make it B-E-A-U-X, and I'd have been for it. Skip Bo was going to get in, but now it's not.
Okay.
There's only one you missed. And Uno's fun, and families beating the crap out of each other can be fun to watch too. But I'm not moving it all the way to the top. I'm good with your blackjack. I'm a roulette. That's my game. I'm not changing poker, and Risk is the best board game ever made. But you left off the most fun environment to be at a casino when it's hot. There is nothing more fun than a craps table.
Nice.
When the whole table's in it together and everybody is running around high-fiving, and then there's that one asshole that bets the don't pass line, and everybody, that's the guy that gets the crap beat out of it. So I'm taking off Uno and putting in craps.
Wow. There it is.
I avoid crap. Like I told you, Bo, I love shooting dice. I love shooting dice. We used to do it in the hotel room before games. It was great. I loved it. We'd all have our per diem in there. I don't know if that's illegal. I think the statute of limitations.
25 years after the fact, you're okay.
I think we're good. So we would take all of our per diem and we'd be in there, and Roy Williams was the worst. He'd be down to $3. He's like, come on, guys, let's keep going. I'm like, Roy, we've already taken all of your money. He's like, I'll win it back. And I'm like, okay, put that $3 out there. Okay, give it to me. Now go away. And like that was Roy's deal. But my problem in the casino, Bo, Chad, I would think you would probably be more like me. I feel like when you get to the craps table at the casino, it's too much going on. Like you're trying to get your bet in. There's people crawling over you. Like it's too many people.
Happening, yeah.
Yeah, it's like it's too much for me.
Yeah, no, I can see that. All right, so as the arbiter of truth, I don't think this has happened yet. on the outsider since we went to the Mach 5 top 5. I have some ideas I'll throw out, but ultimately, I think I'm going to lock it in after Bo's change because I'm a nerdy guy. I don't do a lot of the competition betting type of stuff. My family is an aggravation family. We'll play a marble game, right? We keep it simple. And I thought of ping pong and pool right away because they do involve tables. But I love the theme that's developed here. I like Bo's change. And since Texas just won their 4th Directors Cup out of 5 years, I'm going to keep it at 4 out of 5 are, the Vegas style with risk in the middle. So let's leave it with Texas Hold'em, craps, risk at 3, roulette at 2, and blackjack at 1. I like it, especially since Chance is about to get that vibe. We want to send him all the best luck. Jason Dick was trying to get all that luck, so we'll keep that going.
I'll tell you what. I'm gonna make a I've already called my shot. I'm hitting the progressive.
Yep.
Bringing it home. If I hit the progressive and I bring it home, everybody on this show tonight gets an extra $1,000. I'm sending it to you.
Whoa. Okay. All right.
You know who's not on this show tonight?
There we go, baby.
Jason.
So
hold on.
We split his 1,000 is what you're saying?
Yeah, so $1,500 for each of you.
I don't want to look a gift horse in the mouth by any stretch, Mr. Mach. If you hit the progressive, I want you to call our boys at Engage Vacations, and we take a trip with that $1,500, the outsiders trip to somewhere that has a casino, and we go try to recreate it again with the progressive in Bermuda.
Well, I tell you what,
or wherever has a casino.
We'll make it better. If I hit the progressive, here's what we'll do. I will take the Outsiders crew that's on the Outsiders to a vacation destination for 3 days with your spouses, and we'll do it at a time when we could do the show from whatever destination that we're at.
Wow.
I'm in. Right. Let's go progressive.
Deal?
Hey, hold on.
Chance, spoken like a guy on the plane to Vegas, not the guy coming from Vegas.
I didn't say – look, I'm telling you. I believe, and this is a true story, of all the times I've ever been to the casino sitting at a blackjack table, I'm not saying I came home rich. I have walked out of there one time, and it was my 38th birthday, and that was the only time I've ever walked out down. Now, I've walked out even several times, but I've only lost one time in my life.
Jeez, that is a humble. That's not even a humble brag. That's a brag right there.
Anybody that knows me knows I can't say that story. I've had some very highs and I've had some very lows. I've had plenty of night I walked out of Vegas down way more money than I should be.
Well, here's what I'll tell you. Little tidbit about my aunt. My aunt used to write the crossword puzzles for the AP. She also wrote a book on blackjack, which is who I learned from. And it's not necessarily the strategy of blackjack, it's the strategy of betting. So I'm playing with the house money all the time, which is how I stay on top, is because my strategy of betting never changes. Like I never get to where I'm like, ooh, I feel lucky here. I'm going to put 200 out instead of the 50 that I've got out. I don't, nothing is on a whim. Everything is very methodical and I just stick to the plan. And if you stick to the plan, it shifts the odds from like 48% in your favor to 51 in your favor. So it's not like it's a guaranteed to kill you, but at the same time, it keeps you in a good spot.
And I'm a mathematics guy. I'm an analytical guy. That's how my brain works. But you get me in Vegas with enough cocktails and dreams, so to speak, it starts that way. I have a regimented strategy and the chips are doing what they do. And then it's 4 a.m. and I'm like, hey, I got a pink 5,000 chip. And then I walk out like, I don't have any money left.
See what I'll do? You know where I'm different than you? I will never do that at the blackjack table. I don't care how many cocktails I've had. I don't care what time of the morning it is. I will never stray because my aunt has made me into like a little robot when it comes to blackjack. But after I win like $5,000 over at blackjack, I will walk over to roulette and put $2,500 on black. One spin. Let's go.
Oh, yeah. Wow. That's how I start every casino trip I've ever been on. The first thing I do walking in the door is I bet on black. And the only reason is, it's silly as it sounds, is Wesley Snipes from a movie called Passenger 57 when he said, always bet on black. And it has stuck with me since I was 21 years old. Well, actually, I snuck into a casino when I was 20 with the fake. But that being said, always bet on black. Always the same $100. and then I take winning or losing, and then I go do other stuff.
Does it work more than it doesn't, or has it literally been half and half for you?
I don't want to jinx it, but it's worked a high percentage of the time. That doesn't mean I walk out a winner. Sometimes that money gets blown on stupid things or whatever.
Okay.
But there was a point in my life where it was almost, you know what screwed it up? My friends that were coming with me started following me, and they would bet on black, and then it would inevitably not hit.
Of course, it's their fault. Of course, it's their fault.
Yes.
All right.
When I did it by myself, winner.
Bo, let's not talk about the bad times. Let's talk about the good times. Like every time that you've been to Star Ranch to tee them up.
Star Ranch is my home away from home when I'm physically capable of playing golf. Now I'm fat and have bad shoulders, and I don't play as much golf as I used to, but I love golf. I grew up with golf. Star Ranch is the type of golf course that you want to play. It's not Oakmont. It's not super easy, but it has easy holes. It has greens that roll smooth, which is the key. When you're going to drop $100 for a round of golf, you don't want to go play crap greens that are grainy. Don't make putts. You end the day in a miserable kind of mood. The thing about Star is no matter how you hit it tee to green, you can make putts. The greens don't have too much undulation. They're not grainy. They maintain them very well. And that's what makes golf enjoyable. If you have a bad round hitting the golf ball, but you make the putt on 18 to win the money, nothing else matters. And Star Ranch gives you that capability. It's affordable. And this is the best part, especially in the heat of Texas during the summer. They are militaristic about their pace of play. You will get around the course in 4.5 hours. They don't allow fivesomes. They don't allow goofballs. They will make you move out of the way. The pace of play is great. You get in, you have your fun, and then you can go to the bar. 252 Golf is the number. Scan the QR code. Tell them that the Outsider sent you. It's the golf club at Star Ranch.
There you go. Good place to check out if you're looking for some golf. Did you guys watch the U.S. Open?
Man, I did. And I wanted to ask you guys about this because for me, and I did tweet about it, number one, the 64-foot putt to kind of clinch it was pretty freaking badass. So let's preface that. That was awesome. But as far as the way that the course was set up, and Bo, specifically you, but Chad as well, I got frustrated watching it. Like, I want the course to be challenging, and I want to see how good these guys are. And, I also like the ones where, like, the winner wins at 22. That's not how that's not how the Open works. I get it. But I almost feel like they made the course a little too difficult. Like, there was parts of it just wasn't fun to watch for me. I felt like I was on the course grinding with them.
They go too far, Bo?
What? They did a little bit in spots, but this is the part that behind the scenes you don't realize. They are setting it up for par to be the winning score. That's what that's the U.S. Open's lot in the majors. Masters is the history and the tradition, and it's about putting. The British Open is all over the map because you never know what the weather's going to do, and the courses are all different. The PGA, you've seen a lot of low numbers when the PGA, because they do set it up to score better, because they also have 25 head club professionals that they don't want to demean on TV shooting 95, even though those guys are scratch golfers. The problem is the weather patterns didn't hold what they thought 6 months out going in. So when they were trying to grow the rough, now they won't say this out loud, but when they were trying to grow the rough to 3 or 4, they got a hell of a lot more rain than they anticipated, and there was no going back. So that's how the rough ended up they're going to act like this was their goal. We wanted 5-inch rough, and we wanted all these things. No, the grass grew. They couldn't, if they cut the grass to make it 3 or 4, it would have scorched it and burned it out, and the course would have looked like hot dog shit, and it would have been too playable. It would have been wispy rough. So it kind of got a little over the superintendent's skis, and they just had to run with it. So then the narrative became, this is how we wanted it to be. The greens at Oakmont are always going to be fast and undulating, and putting is always going to be a challenge. The rough, not in all places, but the rough got out of control in areas that just made it wasn't a test of golf. It was a test of stupidity. How stupid are you going to be trying to play from it instead of just going sideways? And to me, that's not finding the best golfer in the country. And so, like, that's what I don't like, but I do like the tough course. And the one thing that impressed me about JJ Spawn, and this is the mental test that the U.S. Open is. The bad break he got on hole number 2 is the type of thing that derails 95% of the golfers, even the good ones. Like when you hit a shot that you know is exactly what you wanted, you needed 79 yards and you got it dialed in, and it lands and hits the damn pin. I mean, that ball could have just as easily dropped in the hole for an eagle, and instead it kicks 60 yards backwards.
I was going to say, Bo, that could have hit the pin and been 5 feet away, and you're fine.
But to have the mental fortitude, and I really think the rain delay saved JJ Spawn, because without the rain delay, I don't think he mentally gets back on track. To take that shot in the nuts and still keep persevering, and he even said it on his interviews, the rain delay allowed me to go inside, take a hot shower, let my anger out, switch clothes, and start over like it was a new round. I got 7 holes to go do what I can do. And he played those holes remarkably well. He also made 137 feet of putts on the back 9, which that's just ridiculous. So kudos to him, because I know I'm not mentally tough enough to do that. That happens to me in my moment in the U.S. Open. I'm turning around and Happy Gilmore club throwing at my caddy, kicking crap. I would have gone nuts.
And there were guys, Chance, to your point about the course, there were some of the best we all could name that were slamming clubs to the ground, pissed off and everything. It's a good point, Bo, because, Spawn did mention a full change of clothes. He's like, I had to go out there as a different golfer because the golfer I was not going to win that tournament.
He did it. 40-32 to win the Open. That's ridiculous.
But let's and Chad, this is where I found it. I found it a little interesting. The way it was that the way that the fairways were cut, it wasn't just the rough. It is the rough, but it's how you could end up in the rough, because the fairways were cut in such a way that you could hit a absolute perfect stripe drive. And then it just, the way that you hit it 5 yards farther than you thought, or 4 yards shorter than you thought, and you end up in 5 inches worth of rough.
Yeah, what I would have told him, Chance, is if Bo's right and they were thinking, fellas, we want them at par, I would have said about 5 more strokes. How about think of it as the winners at -5. Would that crush you? Would that kill you if you're the USGA? Would that embarrass you, Oakmont? If you're setting it up,
there's been Opens where it got that far. There's been Opens where it's gone past 10 under par. Like I said, you're planning this out 2-3 years in advance from not to get technical, an agronomy standpoint.
That course.
Yeah, that's a good point, and it's a good point with the grass. You're right; they did get kind of trapped in that.
But Bo, this is the thing that I thought was very interesting, and I found it fascinating of the whole tournament. And I mean, I'm sorry to bring it up last, but Rory's interview I thought was absolutely fascinating when they asked him about, making the cut and that, and he kind of laughed about it and said, yeah, it's easy to make the cut when you don't care if you play on Saturdays. He's like, it was a very nonchalant, like, I didn't really want to be here. Like, I climbed my mountain back in April,
Well, and I'm a huge Rory guy, and everybody knows it. And that was a defeatist attitude, but that's also knowing what Rory has never been known as a grinder. Rory isn't a guy that can just hammer out pars. And no, Rory's explosive. When Rory gets it going, he's like a firecracker. That's how he won at Augusta. Like, he just hit the pedal down, and he wants to be shooting at flags and making birdies. He doesn't want to be playing to 40 yards left and lag putt. Like, the course didn't suit Rory, and I think he wasn't lying. He didn't give a damn if he made the cut or not, because he knew there was no chance with his style of game that he was ever going to play 36 holes and overcome 10 or 12 strokes, because that course doesn't allow you to fire at enough pins to shoot that kind of explosive number. The best round at Oakmont all week was Sam Burns, 65, and even he would tell you he literally made 200 feet of putts that day. Rory's not the best putter of the golf ball, and he sure as hell isn't on greens like Oakmont. He knew he wasn't going to do, like, he played an absolute Rory-esque round of golf to shoot 68 or 67 or 68 on Sunday and still finish 10 back. I mean, he was done.
Yeah.
All right. Before we wrap it up, let's hear from Specs, one of our other great partners around here. There's a sale going on all through the month of June. Pay attention.
Kick off summer with Specs Made in America sale. We've got star-spangled savings on all your American-made favorites. All month long at Specs. Cheers to savings.
Whoever's dipping a bomb pop in their drink, no notes. Well done. That's a good move. All right, boys, before we get out of here, let me throw up a quick QR code for the people. We're debuting the shows now at 10 a.m. on Thursdays. Tell everybody you know, Outsiders Thursday debut, which means if you're watching us on Thursday, tonight is the War Room at orangebloods.com. This huge recruiting weekend coming up. We told you earlier, Tyler Atkinson, number 1 linebacker coming in. This is John Turntime's weekend for you offensive line fans in recruiting. Get to orangebloods.com. All the rumor mill stuff, the Truth and Lies article, the War Room on Thursday nights, and all the coverage throughout the weekend with Jason and the crew, stalking the airports, if you will, making sure they know who's coming in and getting the interviews. Jason was able to talk to big names like, who was it he talked to last week? Last week, he was able to talk to Felix Ojo and Lamar Brown coming out of the weekend. Find out who he's talking to this week as well. orangebloods.com. Great time to get signed up. Get over there. Get your QR code figured out. All right, gentlemen, anything else before we get out of here?
I got one more. I just
Yes,
want to
sir.
say, because Friday is a important date in my life, and I always want to point this out to everyone out there listening. June 20th is the day that my father passed away in 1986 when I was 8 years old at a tragic accident in an electrical field down in Mount Bellevue, Texas. My son is named Ross Douglas after my father. We call him Razor, but his real birth name is Ross Douglas. For those of you out there who are still lucky enough to have your fathers and your mothers in your life, don't waste a day. You don't know when it's going to go away. Make the phone call, spend the time. It may annoy you at the moment, like, hey, I want to go drink beer with my buddies, but no, spend the time with your father and your mother, because when it's gone, you don't get it back. So that's all my message. Just sorry to bring it down at the end of the day. It's always it's a day in my life that I remember every single time. I always take off work on the 20th, and I always spend it doing the things that my father loved, either fishing, golfing, or hunting. Not a lot of hunting in June, and I don't have time to go fishing. So I'll be playing golf. Y'all know where. I'll be there Friday at 3:00. But cheers, Pops. I hope you're up in heaven laughing at our dumbasses and saying I'd have been better at craps than you.
I was just thinking, Bo, other than birdies, what can I hunt on June 20th? What am I allowed to hunt?
Pigs.
Anything?
Lots of pigs. You can hunt pigs in Texas anytime you want.
We can go hunt pigs. Okay, all right.
I have done that before with an AR-15 and a helicopter on my dad's birthday, just plucking pigs from the sky. But no,
okay.
I will be playing golf and doing what my dad did better than most, consuming a crap ton of cold beer.
Man, oh man. Well, rest in peace to Bo's dad and anybody else that's checking us out this week that maybe has lost a parent along the way. We're thinking of you as well. It is the Outsiders presented by Poncho Outdoors, and ain't nothing wrong with this. Is another good reminder. Bo said, you take every opportunity, but also spend time with your parents, but also spend time with your kids. Maybe get them poncho shirts. PonchoOutdoors.com. Mention Orange Bloods Live. Mention the Outsiders when you get the best shirts possible. Bo was talking about either, doing the fishing or hunting in honor of his dad. If you're doing some fishing or you're doing some hunting, and that's what you love to do, these are the best shirts to do it in. So check out PonchoOutdoors.com. Find out what we've been talking about with all the great designs. All right, that's going to do it for this week. Hopefully, next week, Jason Dick will return with the story from Vegas. But the chances are it's not true, because if he did really, really bad, he probably doesn't want to tell us the story. And if he did really, really good, he's already forgotten all of our numbers and we'll never see him again. But we can still hope. Hopefully, we get the Jason Dick Rounder story next week. That is the goal. We'll see. Thank you all for liking and subscribing and getting your notifications. Thank you for checking out everything at orangebloods.com. Remember, we preview every Thursday at 10 a.m. with the Outsiders. And if you can't find a show at Orange Bloods Live, be sure to check out the videos section as well as the live section, because there's a lot of stuff to check out. We appreciate you doing it. Y'all have a good week. Be safe. And on behalf of all of us that can't stand them, hopefully Arkansas will not win the baseball championship.
Go Tigers.
Go Tigers.
Tiger bait. Tiger bait.
Geaux. And if they can't get it done, Coastal. Go Chanticleers. Whatever the hell your is. I'm
Make
going
it 28 in a row and close it out, Coastal.
that weird muscular space chicken thing. I'm rooting for you too. Until next week, we are the Outsiders, and we are legitimately worth a shit. See ya.